mean, I've always liked and admired him. I don't understand why simply working for, I said to Sonia, by the way, over dinner, the last time we ever met, and after which she said, I can't communicate with you anymore. I said to her, I can't believe Ray went over to Google. Ray has always been an entrepreneur. He's built company after company. And she says, oh, well, he got sick of all the stuff you have to do as an entrepreneur, all the politics and the money raising and stuff. And I said, well, really, my son Julian, has a different idea. He thinks that Ray went over to Google to get access to Google's computer power so that he could upload his mind and live forever. And she says, oh, well, there's that. And that's one of an eye roll. Well, there's that.
That is his specified goal, right? He wants to be able to download consciousness.
Yes, and he still believes it's possible, and it's not possible. And I feel so bad for him in that way. And I've written about that issue as well, why it's not possible. But the point is,
why do you think it's not possible?
Oh, because they. In a piece I wrote for Aeon magazine, which crashed their servers, it's called The Empty Brain. It had something like 2 or 3 million views within a day or two. It got 250,000 likes on Facebook. And what's it about? It's about the fact that the computer processing metaphor that we use to describe how the brain works is absolutely wrong. It's not even slightly right. It's absolutely 100% wrong. So because of that, you can't actually do a transfer of the sort that Ray talks about. It's impossible, partly because every brain is also completely unique. So it doesn't work like a computer. We don't actually know how it works, although I have a theory. I wrote to you about that, and you actually replied and gave me some names. But the point is, we don't really know how the brain works. It does not work like a computer, for sure. And every brain is completely unique. So even if you could scan every single thing that's happening in the brain, okay, now you're getting a static scan. Even if somehow you could replicate that, whatever it is you just scanned, it wouldn't work because our brain has to be alive. It has to be moving to maintain who we are, our identity,
Don't you think you could simulate that with data points? Like if you collected data on a person over a course of X amount of years and you had an understanding of how they behave and think, don't you think you'd get some sort of a proximity as to how they would behave in a certain circumstance?
Absolutely. And of course, that's what Google does when they build models of us. They're
Right.
building extremely complex models which predict what we're going to do and say and what we're going to buy next.
But they don't allow for free will. They don't allow for change. They don't allow for personal influence or people being excited or inspired by other things and change their perspective, conversations with another human being where you have a deeply personal moment with someone and they give you a perspective on something and you go, wow, I never thought about religion, for example, that way, or I never thought about childbirth that way, or any subject that's controversial.
Well, it's not just that. It's all the weird stuff. The dreams,
right,
the daydreams.
Well, there's whatever consciousness is, right? We're really sort of committed to the idea that consciousness lives inside the brain, but that's controversial.
Well, I've concluded that in fact, let me give you some background here. Okay. Everyone knows that evolution has created millions, possibly billions of different species.
Right.
So at least people who kind of give some credence to Darwin kind of get that. And I recently reread, Darwin's magnum opus just to see what he actually said. And, he's actually very tentative about the theory of evolution in his book. He keeps saying, I know this sounds crazy, but it's a better alternative than saying God did it, And then he just, over and over again, he says, I know this is crazy, but. And so we end up with a theory that's pretty widely accepted that says evolution over time, because of changing environments and because there's variability in genetic code, over and over again, it keeps selecting for organisms that can survive in this new environment. And so every time it does that, it kind of creates divergences among those animals and those animals. And over time, you end up with two separate species that can't even, produce offspring together. And we end up over time with millions, maybe billions of species. All good. But there's something we haven't really given much thought to. And that is evolution has also created millions, if not billions, of transducers. So this is the beginning of what I call NTT, or neural transduction theory. We are encased in transducers. Now, in case people don't know what a transducer is, there's one right in front of my mouth right now. It's a one-way transducer. It's taking a signal over here, which is just vibrating air, but the vibration has a pattern to it. And it's converting that signal into an electrical signal, which is coming out this wire. And that electrical signal has roughly the same pattern. I say roughly because it depends how good your microphone is. But that's what transducers do. They take signals from one medium, send them to another medium. Our bodies, in fact, the bodies of most organisms, are encased in transducers, head to toe transducers. Okay, we all know the eye is a transducer. It's taking electromagnetic radiation. It's turning it into what? Neural signals. The ear, it's taking vibrating air. It's turning it into neural signals. The nose, it's taking airborne chemicals, turning that into neural signals. The tongue is taking liquid-borne chemicals, turning that into... And then the pièce de résistance is the skin. The skin is an amazing transducer, which does at least 3 different kinds of things. It can transduce temperature, turn that into neural signals, pressure, and texture, head to toe, encased in transducers. So we've been looking into transducers in the animal kingdom. We've been looking at that for a couple of years now, and it's amazing the kinds of things, the kinds of transducers nature has created.